Hey everybody, this is Troy from TR Tactical and Survival. Again today is something a little bit different. I'm sitting in front of my computer, got my camera sitting here. I'm going to use notes because this is part 2 of one of my most important videos that I've ever done to date, in my opinion. In my previous video I talked about how many of the top financial advisors are saying a collapse is coming soon, an economic collapse is coming very soon. It's in our near future. When the top financial advisors are talking about ways for the rich people to put away their money to ride out the coming troubles, we should all pay attention and be concerned and not so much worry about finances. Most of us don't have anything for the future that much. If you do, please pay attention to what they're saying. If not, the most important thing right now to be concerned with is food, water, shelter, medicines, such things like that. People need to be prepared for whatever may come. Now, today I want to talk to you about how you can be prepared for anything from a full economic collapse, natural disaster, or loss of income, which can happen. Any of these things can happen to anyone at any time without warning. So don't think that can never happen to me. That's famous last words, as they say. Being prepared ahead of time can mean the difference between riding it out in relative comfort or suffering. And I've seen people suffer throughout the years. Well, all we have to do is watch the news. Right now, more than ever before in our history, people need to stock up on extra food and necessary items while they still can. Don't wait until it's too late and everybody's out there flooding the stores, panic shopping all at the same time. Then it's too late. One time I moved. Wasn't supposed to be that bad, but we moved during a snowstorm, turned into a mega blizzard, and we lost the power. Everything I had was in boxes. I was snowed in for 3 days, and I didn't have anything. I was not prepared. Well, I shouldn't say that. I wasn't prepared for losing power in a blizzard in a brand new apartment, but what I did do, I dug through and found some of my preps, and I had a tiny little propane heater on a canister, and I had some batteries and some power, and a way to cook. Having something to get you through is better than suffering miserably. Other people suffered even though they had lived there for years, even their entire lives. They suffered during that blizzard, and I had just moved, and I made it through. On that note, I have been through 3 massive hurricanes in New York, which took out the infrastructure for weeks at a time. It was absolute madness. The shopping lines, the stores were empty. You can go back and see some of my articles from back then and some of my videos. It was insane. People were killing each other for a bottle of water or a gallon of gas. I've been through blizzards which shut down everything for days at a time. I was one time with a friend, and if you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. Me and a friend, we got stuck on top of a mountain in my truck camper and got snowed in a blizzard that just suddenly came up on us. And we made it through. I've been through countless power outages and even loss of income at times. One thing I can tell you has always been the same. I've lived through it all in relative comfort while everybody else around me suffered because I was prepared. One thing I hear time and time again is how a family cannot afford to prepare or stock up on anything extra for future disaster. I hear that people would love to, but it's just not in the budget. They can't afford to. Well, I have a question for you. Can you afford not to? I lived in a camper in the woods for some years, and many of you have seen those videos and have seen how at times I suffered, but I always made it through. And I still managed to prepare. Although I didn't have much to spare, I hardly had much of an income. At one point, my income was like $300 a month, and I made it through. And I still managed to put away extra food now and then. Stay tuned, keep listening, and I'll tell you how. What you have to do is buy a little bit extra every time you go shopping. And here's where I get the brick wall talking to some people. They can't afford to. Yes, in a way you can, and I'm going to show you how. Dollar stores are an amazing place to shop. I'm careful what I buy, and I don't want to talk about certain types of products or certain countries or whatever and the safety of food and things, but let's just say you can get some pretty nice deals and some relatively safe and healthy foods at the dollar stores. Rice. I mean, it's depends on where it's grown. Read the labels. But you can get rice, beans, you can get vegetables, canned meats, you can get frozen fruits and vegetables and meats. It's a good place to get food on a budget. Look for sales, clearance items, slightly damaged goods. A box of cereal with a crinkled corner isn't going to hurt you at all. If it's a can with a dent, look it over, make sure the seal isn't broken, and use your best judgment. Depending on what the product is and how the container might be damaged, you might be able to get some really good bargains out there by shopping the clearance products and the slightly damaged products. But also coupon shopping and just looking for all those sales. When you buy something on sale or on clearance, instead of, let's say, buying a can of soup for $2.39, if you can get them for 50 or 75 cents or even $1 a piece on sale, now you can buy 2 or 3 or even more for the exact same dollar that you would have spent for one can. Dollar for dollar, I'm saying. So if you buy things on sale and buy only those things that are on sale when you're grocery shopping all the time, you can save a lot of money and budget a whole lot more food in the same amount of money that you started out with. It takes a lot of time and effort, but it can be done. Even on a budget, you can stock up for the future. Sales can be found almost every day. Somewhere in some store you can find some sale somewhere. You might have to shop around a bit. Instead of going to one store shopping for all of your groceries, you might have to go to 2, 3, 4, or even 5 stores. But in the end, it's worth the time and trouble when you can sit back and relax, look at your food storage, and know that if a disaster came, you're that much closer to being prepared. And start little. Start with a little bit, whatever you can afford, a couple at a time. Again, shop discounts and buy more with the same budget. And put a little bit aside. Every little bit helps. Every single little bit you can put away is going to help you get through a couple more days when a disaster strikes. An important thing when stocking up, only buy what you're normally going to eat anyway. One mistake a lot of preppers have done it through the years is they find something on bulk and they buy massive loads of it. They stockpile it, but it's not something they would normally eat or maybe not know how to prepare or cook. Take wheat, for example. Somebody might buy 1,000 pounds of wheat and put it away and then realize they don't know what to do with it or don't even have a grain mill or a way to process it when a disaster comes. Only buy what you normally eat, only buy what you're comfortable with and familiar with and know how to use. Otherwise, when a disaster comes, you might suffer anyway having a massive food storage and not even know how to use it. Some of the items you should stock up on are one of the obvious: food and items for your family to get through. If you have children, babies, they might have special needs. Don't forget wipes, diapers, formula, depending on their needs. If you have animals, don't forget cats will need extra cat litter, cat food. Dogs will need dog food. If you have goats, they're going to need bedding and food. So consider not just yourself, children, babies, animals, pets. Because if a collapse or an economic, if some disturbance broke up the supply chain for even a few days, weeks, whatever, you can ride it out in comfort that way, along with your animals. When stocking up, check the sell-by dates and only buy the things that you know that you can use before those dates expired. So if you're planning on, let's say, 6 months of food, then make sure that you can use that up before it expires, and then rotate it out. Once you've stocked up, never stop. So what I'm saying is, if you decide you want to have a 1 month or a 3 months, 12 months, whatever you want to have, plan it out with your family, how long you want to stock up for. It might even be a week. It might be 3 weeks. It might be a month. Decide how long you want to be prepared for. How long do you figure that you will need to ride it out? Some people plan on going hunting and fishing for food and living off the land. Some people plan on stealing from others. Not really wise decisions, but those are topics for a whole other video in itself, because that's a massive topic. I don't think it's wise to plan on surviving off the land or off others in a post-collapse. It's best to prepared with your own family for your own needs, for whatever time period you figure you need. Things you should be concerned with when you make that decision, in let's say 3 months, all right, you have a 3-month stock of food. As you start to use that food in your normal daily living and cooking, so that you're going through and using it, like I said before, you only buy what you normally use and eat anyway, all right? Now, you start using that on a day-to-day basis. And then every time you go shopping, put it in the back and keep rotating forward. Now you've got a 3-month supply of food continuously for the rest of your life. Keep rotating that out. Keep restocking and putting in the back, and use only what you like. That's the best way that you can make it through and never have to worry again about stockpiling or things expiring because they're just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Use your food. Something else to really consider: if you have medical needs, if there's any medicines you take, any vitamins or supplements, make sure you get enough for that time duration that you've set for yourself. Keep enough on hand, and again, rotate them through. Use what's the oldest dates first, and always put the newest behind, and always keep them cycling through. That way you'll never have to stress again, and you'll always have something on hand. You could lose your job. Nobody ever knows what could happen. And having enough time to ride it through while you're job hunting will be a lifesaver. It is, believe me, I've had it happen. Post-collapse, most of the hospitals and clinics are going to be overwhelmed and won't be able to deal with minor things such as cold and flu. Stock up on medicines like that for those type of issues. If you have special needs, make sure you cover that. I can't go into every detail in this video, but again, check dates, especially, and rotate that stuff out as you go. Don't forget paper products like toilet paper, paper towels, napkins, tissues, whatever you need, whatever you use in your family. Make sure that you have enough supply for the time period that you decide that you're going to stock up for. And hey, if you prefer using leaves instead of toilet paper, that's good for you, so be it. But, in all seriousness, there are people that say they're going to use leaves. That's great. But they just count on nature being there for them, and then when the snow falls and there's 3 foot of snow on the ground, those leaves are biodegrading, and collapse comes, you don't have anything on hand, what are you going to do? I guess you could use snow. But keep that in mind. Even if you have alternate ideas, make sure that that's available at all times of year for you. Think about your needs and your plans. Sit down with your family and discuss it with them and plan things appropriately. Put away massive amounts of water, as much water as you can put away. You can live without food and paper products and even shelter for a period of time, but you cannot live without water. If you think, okay, say there's a lake or a pond that you're going to access, you still have to consider a way to make that drinkable. A lot of people just plan on surviving off the land but don't have any way to do that, or haven't considered what it takes to make that water drinkable. Get 55-gallon barrels if you have land and you have space to store it, if you have massive basements or a barn or something. Take and wash out milk jugs and clean them well, fill them with water, put them under the cupboards or in the counter, under the beds. Whatever you do, get water. You cannot live without water. And hygiene will affect your health overall in a survival scenario. Being clean is an absolute necessity in survival. So before I forget, go ahead and get soap too, and cleaning cleaners, laundry detergent, soaps, shampoos, whatever you need to keep yourself clean in a survival scenario. Also, something that I think every single family should have is some sort of water filter. The Life Straw is $10-15 a piece, can handle many thousands of gallons, and supposedly you can drink straight out of the toilet. I'm not going to try that, but in some very poor countries where they literally have nasty water floating by them down the rivers, I've seen people brushing their teeth and pushing away the sludge and carry on. That's not safe. If you have the Life Straw, you can drink that water and it'll save your life. Every single family should have some sort of water filter, and I'm not affiliated with them. It's just an idea I have, a suggestion I have out of many. So I'm not advising that somebody goes out and buys thousands of gallons of water bottles at a time, or thousands of water bottles, or gallons of water at a time. Use your own judgment based on your situation. We can stock water in barrels outdoors as long as the weather is warm enough. Outside that, we have milk jugs recycled with water sitting in our food pantry in case we need it. We lose the power all the time. So often we lose power out here in the country, and our well is still on the grid. We can plug it into solar if we need. I could run a generator if we need, but I prefer not to. We just have water on hand, and I think everybody should, no matter what their situation is, have extra water on hand. Some non-food type items you should consider would be like batteries, solar power, portable generators, solar powered flashlights like I have here in the windows. I've got solar powered LED lighting and lamps, good high quality flashlights, a folding solar panel to keep your cell phone charged for emergency purposes, portable power banks. I put them all away. I had some here the other day. Portable power packs, keep them charged up at all times so that you can charge your cell phone, GPS, tablet, or other devices in an emergency to call for help if you need to. Have these things on hand now. Practice using them ahead of time, so when collapse comes, it's just you go on almost with life as usual. This video and the accompanying article is just a guideline. It's an idea. It's something to stir you up and hopefully get you to start putting away some food extra. Keep it rotated and be prepared for any type of disaster, whether it be power outage, loss of income, tornado, fire, hurricane, or a full grid down scenario. It's good to be prepared. It's good to have a backup. And sit down and talk with your family. Work things out. Figure out what you need. Figure out how much you want to have. And get a plan together. And make it a family fun thing. Your kids can get involved. It's fun. Our daughter Michelle loves to be involved in shopping and planning and preparing lists and things and food gathering and harvesting. It can be a fun family time as well. Once you've got your list and your plan together, start buying. Even if you just make small purchases as you go along, it could all save your life one day. So get started now. Please like this video, leave a comment below. If you got ideas, suggestions, pointers, please feel free to join in the conversation. Join over on the Do-It-Yourself World Forum, and if you got something to contribute, I would very much appreciate it there, where thousands of people can come through, and you could probably help them as well. It's all about helping each other and making life better for everybody. So, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.